wasn't getting any sleep, and I was miserable. I started thinking to myself, I'm like, okay, I have a family and I need to find a job quickly, and I didn't know what to do, and it was scary. It's a scary situation to be unemployed.
There's times where you're just like, I just want to give up. I had to end up quitting to take care of my mom, and I came back up here. Brian up here, he's really nice, and he basically told me, he said, look, I've been where you're at. I lost my job in my mid-30s too. I had to come down here. That's why he was working here.
Well, in my previous job, there was an organizational change. Found myself unemployed, and so hadn't been a job seeker for many years. Once before, in another state, I remember walking up to the front desk, and the receptionist, I said to her, I just lost my job. What do I do? She never even looked up at me and said, pointing over her shoulder, just find an open computer, best of luck. Now contrast that to coming here, where I walked in and they said, have you ever been in before? How would you like to fill out this form that tells us a little more about yourself so that we can better serve you? And then we'll tell you about our resources. And I was blown away.
I don't think many people know what we do here. All of our team they're subject matter experts, so someone is going to have the key to what you need.
We get all types. We get maybe young single parents that have never had a formal job looking for work. We get PhDs that have worked for 40 years. So that's kind of the thing that we push at the Workforce Center. Isn't what it was that brought you here. It's where are you going to go from here. So for the perspective that I too kind of hit a wall about a month or two into the job seeking program, that gives me a unique perspective to be able to help someone on that other side. Because that to me is the hardest barrier to overcome. People are going to have to dig deep, when they hit that wall. I think I've got that unique perspective to help them through that process. And the most important thing is just not to give up. Sometimes, if you've ever driven on a dusty trail or something, your wheels kind of gravitate toward that rut and it's hard to get out. And so here's ways to do that once you hit that mark is first, make sure that you've got positive, healthy routines. Because as people, we gravitate toward that. If your routine is to stay in your pajamas and watch TV and feel discouraged, guess what? That's a routine if that's what you do every day. So make sure that you've got positive ones. Secondly, change it up. That's the best way to get out of the rut is get out of the rut. For me personally, what I did is I found that if I was at home and I had a computer, internet, everything I needed at home to job search, but I found that after 3 or 4 days in a row being at home, that deck really needed staining and that tree needed pruning. And that was my production killer, is knowing my wife was at work and I needed to take care of these things. So I made it a point to come into the Workforce Center dressed in business casual for the jobs I was applying for as if I had a job. And that was my job, was to come in here once or twice a week just to break up that routine and that rut. Number 3, you got to take breaks. Work hard. Do it 8 hours a day and then stop. You've got to disconnect. Have another outlet. Don't do that during your job seeking time. Make sure that you compartmentalize. This is for jobs. This is for fun. So work hard during the week. Actually have weekends just like you're working, because job seeking is at that point your full-time job.
Most likely, you're going to find your lead through someone else because they already know your work ethic. They know your good character and that you show up and do a great job. So you'll most likely find it through someone you know. So let the process work itself.
I think having a great networking system is really important. If you know someone, let them know that you're looking, what kind of position you're looking for. They might know someone. Other than that, there's always social media networking, so LinkedIn, Facebook. Obviously, you want to keep those professional. Volunteering, working with an organization, doing something with the community. You're going to meet tons of people that might know of a position, or hey, I know this person, they'd be great for the job. So networking is very important. I would say the majority of people get their jobs through networking.
They probably know a lot more people than they realize. One of the key words they should ask is, who do you know that's hiring? Not who's hiring, but who do you know that's hiring? Because everybody's hiring. We have more jobs in Kansas and we have people to work them. Just start writing out, who do you know and who does that person know? And just kind of make a diagram. Sometimes you have to write it out. And our website is amazing. Let it work harder for you so you don't have to work as hard.
KansasWorks.com is a lot more than just simply a search engine. It's a job-seeking tool. Once you upload your resume or create one in KansasWorks.com, you can opt in to have emails sent to you about jobs that match your resume. With KansasWorks, you get one email a day, and in that one email, it's new jobs that posted that day or were updated that day. So when you get an alert on a Monday, there's a certain list of jobs. On Tuesday, it's all new jobs. So even though you get 8 jobs on Monday, 10 jobs on Tuesday, there isn't any overlap. It's not a carryover of those Monday's jobs. Those two on Tuesday, that alert will be all new jobs or newly updated jobs. And so once I figured out how to utilize that, I don't think I job searched for the rest of my unemployment, because my jobs found me every single day. I cut 2 hours of job seeking out of my day and could focus that on prepping my resume, prepping for interviews, and applying for those jobs that were tailored to me because of the way I uploaded my resume in KansasWorks. Great benefit. My resume wasn't bad, but it wasn't good. And worst of all, it wasn't great. Now, if you care about documents like that and you put your heart and soul into it, you want it to be accurate and correct, be willing to consider a change, maybe even a radical change to your resume by having other people review it. I don't recommend that you pay to have it reviewed.
Well, when you're building a resume, there are several things to keep in mind. You want to make sure that you cater it to the job that you're applying for. So if it is something different, do your research on the company and the job description and make sure that you're qualified and you're matching stuff from your resume to that job description. But just going through and making sure, spelling, grammar, all of that, and then the format of it, you want to kind of keep to one page, no more than 2 really, and just kind of go over it and make sure that everything on there looks neat and clean and organized.
The biggest thing is gearing that resume to the job that they're applying for and find those hidden skills that they have they didn't know they even have.
He just showed me the small things and how to put it in my resume. Like, you have been doing this. You do have experience in this. You just don't look at it. I never thought about that. I never looked at the simple things I do in life, as experience. And he showed me, and I was like, okay, great, thanks.
A lot of people have bad experiences in interviews. When you are going into an interview with that kind of trepidation, it's hindering. So we do offer it at the workforce centers, mock interviews where you can practice interview skills.
We go through behavior-based interviews, questions, and we just go through, whatever questions that may be thrown at them.
Walking in with a positive attitude and having confidence about the position and interview that you're applying for really helps with the whole interview process.
So if you're able to showcase yourself, then you'll land in the best possible job. They can't do it when they've got these fears and trepidations about interviewing. So it's one of the lesser known resources that are offered at workforce centers. I wish they were more utilized. Everyone that I've encouraged to do that and has done it has really benefited from it. My theory, always have a question at the end of an interview. Ask the people that are interviewing you, what do you like about working here? What would my first project be? What would at any given day at my job, what would I expect to do if I were to be hired? Don't talk about benefits and pay unless they did, or unless they're making you an offer. And turn the tables. Put them on the interview spot if you want to, and find out what they like about working for that company.
Coach my team to ask, what would you do if no one paid you to do it?
You have nothing to lose, but you got a lot to gain.
If you get to a point where you feel like the efforts you're making aren't getting results, the most important thing to do is reach out.
It's basically, our office is your office until you find your next office.
We actually care, we can actually relate, and we can actually help.
If you give as much dedication and fight to coming down here, filling out the applications, staying active with them, you will find a job. Period. You will find a job. And they have so many different jobs out here, you don't really have to settle. You don't have to.